do you market yourself for the opportunities that you want?
I do. When it comes to basketball, I do like a lot of tryouts. Over the years, ever since about probably 2013, I came out of junior college, and I was pretty much like, do I want to continue to go to school? Like, I got an associate degree. Like, I could do some things with it, but I really wanted to kind of go the pro route as far as basketball. So I tried to work out for different teams, and I kept getting the same answers, like, you know, you're good, but you're not going to play this position. We need you to change. And I was very headstrong at the time, so it was like, I don't want to change because I feel like you're taking away what I'm good at.
Right.
You know, and then I also felt, well, if all I got to do is switch to this, why don't you bring me on and then work with me? Right. But as I've gotten older, I've realized the business of it. I would rather take a younger 18, 19-year-old with potential to grow versus at the time I was 23. Okay. You know, so in basketball I'm considered old.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's the average age for?
The average age now is about 22. Okay. So if you come out of school, if you do 4 years of school, you come out at 22, 23, you're considered old as far as basketball because they're doing 18, 19, and then, you know, because at 18, by the time you're 23, you've played 4 years. Right. So whatever you were going to do, if you were going to sit, if you're going to develop, you've developed by then. If you come in at 23, they expect you to already be polished, and if not, you're going to be a journeyman. You're going to bounce around. You may go overseas. You may drop to the G League, and it's going to be just a never-ending, you know, story. So for me, it was just about getting myself out there like that. I've done numerous tryouts for different teams. I've traveled.
What's your dream team?
Boston. Okay. Boston Celtics. That's my team. It's always been.
Why?
I admire the history.
Tell me about it, because I don't know.
I actually got a chance to go watch them play for the first time in their arena this year. It was a birthday gift for me. But they have the history that I admire. Like, I'm black everything. I love supporting black. I love whatever it has to do with black. And they have the first ever black coach in history was he coached Boston Celtics. Okay. One of the best players in the league who currently has the most championships with 11, Bill Russell, he played for Boston. John Thompson, who coached Georgetown, he was a Boston guy. He won the championship, and he also was a coach there before he went to Georgetown and, you know, became prominent there. So he brought up that program. So it's a lot of history that goes into just being in Boston. And contrary to popular belief, they have the stigmatism that says that Boston is more of a racist town. But one thing about it, basketball connects those people. Right. So whatever happens outside of the gym, when we come in here, we all join forces and we're a fan. Right. And I admire Boston because their fans are intelligent when it comes to sports. And
tell me more about that.
They're not only basketball, but you look at New England, you look at the Bruins, the hockey team, the Red Sox. All of these teams, they're used to winning. They're used to success. They've never been in a situation where one of these teams each year is not winning the championship, but competing for the championship. Okay. So when you're on the outside world, any other place other than Boston, you think, oh, these people are arrogant, but they expect you to be great. Right. And if you're not going to be great, then we don't want you here.
Okay. How do you become great? How do you stay great?
You have to learn how to be consistent. It's literally basically practicing insanity with the same thing over and over. Right. Whatever it is you're going to do, whether it's a sport, whether it's a business, you have to become it. And
it's who you are.
It becomes who you are. It's your identity for that time, you know, whatever it is that you're going to do. Right. And you have to put yourself in that position where this is what I'm doing all the time. You have to understand that there are going to be a lot of sacrifices. You may not be able to spend as much time with your family, your friends. You may not have that social life that everybody else has, but that's a sacrifice.
Temporary too.
Right. Yeah. So, and then for me, for the sport, it's not going to last forever. Right. So you want to put in as much as you can to get it while you can, because one day you may not be able to do it at the level that you want to do it. So You want to do it while you can.
Right. So I've built a whole business on trying to help people navigate and find their voice in life. And I wanted to ask you to think of a time in your life where you actually you struggled to find your voice or your purpose or your passion.
Okay.
And what were the steps that you took to navigate that?
You know, honestly, I must say that at 29 years old, I feel like I still deal with finding that voice. I think a lot of times it comes down to just being more afraid of your ability, what you can do, and how great you really can be.
Right.
Because I sit back and even to this day, I watch different people go through life, they do certain things, and I think to myself, man, I had that idea, or I thought of this, or something like that. And I'm just like,
I could have did that.
It. Right, like I should have been doing it. I could have been doing it. I don't know why I'm not. And it's something that I deal with, like even just playing basketball. It's always been, I know I can play the game, and I know if I just go out here and I work really hard, then I can do it. But then when I get in the game, it seems like what happens in my mind doesn't really come out, and that's the most frustrating part, because I want you to see it.
That is so.
But if you come watch me practice, then it's like, yo, why don't you do this in the game? It's like, you know what? I don't know.
My son had the same issue. He was like, when I get out there on the court, it's like I have all these especially with all the games that they have nowadays on the Xbox and all that. You can do all these tricks.
Oh man!
So you plan in your head when you get out there,
and then you get out, and it's like it doesn't happen. But I honestly, you know what? My first year of college, it was actually me and one of my good friends. We came from Texarkana, and we went to a small school in York, Nebraska, and it was one of those things where I've literally watched, starting with him, I've watched every friend that I had stop playing or stop doing whatever their passion was because somebody took it away from them.
Wow.
So that was something that I was just determined to not have happen to me. But I also, over the years, I started to become more quiet as far as when coaches would say things, there was no rebuttal, there was no fire back, and then sometimes you should have some type of backbone with it, but it was like, you know what, I don't want you to take this away from me, so I'm just going to do whatever it is that you ask, just to, keep everything smooth, because I didn't want to be known as, oh, well, he's the black kid with the attitude. So I didn't want to go through that. But essentially, over time, it kind of shelled who I was as a player, as a person, and it's like, okay, well, you have to come out of this. So when I decide I want to do the pro thing, it's like, I want the ball in my hand, I want to play, I want to do this and that, but I've been operating without it for so long that you've never seen me really do, what I know I can do. So listening to my grandmother, she would say, maybe you'll be a millionaire when you play your best ball. So that's in my head now. And it's been in my head, but I've also had, my grandmother was diagnosed with cancer the longest time. My mother she had a tumor on the back of her head, so she had to have that removed. And they actually went through her nose and pulled that out, so they didn't have to go through and actually cut on her head. But now my mindset has shifted to, Lord, please don't let the two women who are monumental in my life leave this earth before I've reached where I want to be.
And he won't.
He won't. And that's just a constant prayer. And even my mother asked, what do you think you need to do to get to that point? And I say, you know what? I don't believe it's ability, because I feel like anything you teach me, I'll learn it, I'll pick it up. So it really just comes down to, like you said, finding your voice. I have to have fun. If I don't, when I'm out here, and that's the one thing that I've noticed. When I'm just playing, I have fun. I do moves. I just have fun. I don't care. I talk to you. I laugh. I joke. When I get in the game, that face comes and it's serious. So it's not making a mistake, being perfect. Seeing that. So,
how do you deal with all the people looking at you? At the same time, when you have to perform, then you have the coaches that have this expectation for you to be perfect, to win the game.
It's funny because my mother has always put me in the light, to whether it was leading church programs, leading songs,
Can you sing?
I mean, I can hold a note.
Oh, we sing it today. We sing it today.
I can hold a note. I mean, I'm not, I can Kurt Franklin any song.
Okay, okay.
But I mean, you know what? She put me in the light. I had, long speeches. Everybody else had the 4-line speech. I got a book, and it's like, why do I got to read a book? And everybody else gets to see the paper. So she's always put me in the front. Pulled it out of you. Right. Yeah. She did. She pulled it out of me. Believe it or not, when I was younger, I used to hate walking in the gym because I didn't want to cross over the stands and people are looking at me. So going into the game, I would stand by the door and I would just wait until like somebody called my name, because now the focus is on that person. Right. So I would see my friend, they would call me, I go straight to like, I'm not looking over here, I'm going straight to you. Right. So when I got into the game, it would take a minute to freeze that out. Yeah. Once I froze it out, it didn't matter.
So how do you freeze it out? Because this is so interesting to me, because it really segues into talking about speaking too, public speaking. And my business is about that, like, finding your voice and speaking. And for me, like, it's been hard. Like, I can have a conversation with you and we're just talking and, being taped or whatever, but for me to turn, and then all of a sudden, it's like, who's on the other side of that lens? Who's on the other side of that camera? And everything that I planned in my mind, like, I know I can do this, I can say it like this, and in the mirror, like, I get the best. The best speeches in the mirror. Right. I mean, I'm just telling the world, about themselves. But when it comes to actually doing it, then I'm like, freeze. So
I was taught, and this happened to me in school, to like take something and just like focus on that. So anywhere I would go, if I ever felt nervous, I would take just one thing and I would just focus on it, and I would try to like look at that thing. So whatever it was,
a physical thing there.
Right, physical thing. So like they would say, hey, look at this board here. So my eyes are fixed on that board, or my mom was pretty much at any game or any big event. So I would find her and I would look at her and she would make a face, she would do something, and it would just keep me on her. And another neat thing that I had, my dad, we had, I guess you can say, like, it was a little bit of a telepathy thing going on, where no matter where he was, no matter how packed the gym was, he would whistle. And when he would whistle, I would hear it, and I would automatically find him wherever he was. And then it was just like, he would say something, like he would mouth something to me that would just kind of put me in the moment. And it was like, okay, I'm ready to go now.
So talk to the student or the person, the athlete that doesn't have that support, but needs to be able to find themselves and to block out the negativity, to block out their past, to block out their shortcomings, their inadequacies. How would you encourage them? Thank God you had a mom. Thank God you had a dad that could whistle and, that could be there for you. But as far as inspiring others to do what you're doing, what would you say?
There's always a person who you may not know believes in you. They may not say it, but there's always that person who always critiques you, that's always pushing you, that's always saying, hey, you need to do this, you need to do that, get up, don't make this decision. When you're younger, you don't understand that voice. And sometimes that voice comes from you. My advice would say, pay attention to that voice, wherever it comes from. My mom would say, eat the meat and cut out the fat. So take what you need and eliminate what you don't. So the only person that can tell you anything about whatever's going on starts with you. So you have to listen to yourself first. You have to make the decision to say that this is what I'm going to do, and then you have to align your life with that. So going back to what we talked about earlier, was you have to become obsessive with it. And every step, everything, like things that you wouldn't even think about, you have to think about that. You have to go outside the box, and you have to really own in, like, okay, if I want to have this Fortune 500 company, what's going to put me in this position? Find somebody that you like. If you don't know what to do, mimic that person. Because the worst you can do is their bottom level.
Their success.
So you have to have a foundation with something. I would encourage anybody to pick up books. It don't matter what book. Just pick up a book. I will be the first to say that everything that I've learned in life, whether it came from reading, writing, poetry, music, business, everything came from basketball.
Right.
Because I would pick up a basketball book, I would read about a coach, and then I would learn that he used to farm, or his mother owned a business, or something, and that would make me want to explore, something of that area. Or I would have a favorite athlete that would say, hey, I read The Alchemist. Okay, so I'm going to go buy The Alchemist because I want to know why my favorite athlete likes that book.
Right.
So
just always learning, always
learning. Because if you stop learning, I believe you die. Because at that moment when you stop learning, you're telling me, along with yourself, that you're incapable of growing anymore. Right. And so that's the reason why I hold on to this. Good. I hold on to this so much because playing basketball is so much I can learn. And I feel like even at 29, there's so much more I can do. Right. And I've begun to get even more excited now. Like I've been working with trainers and they've helped me with my shot, and I've gotten excited. I said, look, I can shoot better than I could when I was 18 and 19. So there's no way I'm going to stop now. Right. Because I've learned it. Yeah. And you have a brand new appreciation for it, for the game, for life, and everything.
That's good
stuff. So just being able to approach life the same way you approach anything that you want to do. You attack it head on. You don't be consistent. Don't be afraid to learn. Don't be afraid to receive positive, negative criticism, and even from enemies, people who you may think don't like you.
Let's talk about them.
Right, let's talk about them.
Frenemies.
So, I mean, they're actually the best people to learn from because
so you can't beat up every one of them.
No, you can't do it. You can't do it. You can't do it because they're gonna come in handy when it comes to just your growth. Because they're going to be more honest with you than your friends will. Right. Your friends will get on the phone and be like, oh, no, you good, you got it. Your enemy will tell you, look, man, your left hand kind of weak. That's why I keep taking the ball from you. Right. You can't make this move or you can't do this or that.
So it tells you the area that you need to grow in.
There you go.
Yeah.
Because you want to beat your enemy. Right. You don't want him to have that upper hand on it. Right. So you're going to go work on it. Right. And he going to know you worked on it. Yeah. Because he going to tell you. There you go.
We're going to finish with a song.
Oh, okay.
So, what song you going to sing? I'll sing a little bit too. Jazz is going to sing too this time.
Okay, go ahead.
She sings too. Don't let her fool you. She does it all.
I believe it.
Let me see. I don't know why. Going up yonder. that's not the cut. Let me think. You said Kurt Franklin.
Yeah,
Kurt. Give me Kurt Franklin. Your favorite Kurt Franklin song.
What's the Kurt Franklin? You know what? I don't know.
What's the Kurt Franklin song?
Give me a Kurt Franklin.
Okay, here we go. Ready?
Okay, go ahead.
Can I get some bass or something?
Can we get some
melodies from heaven?
Okay.
Rain down on me. Rain down on me. Melodies from heaven. Rain down on me. Rain down on me. Hey!
Hello everybody, my name is Devario Pierce. I am a semi-pro basketball player for the Dallas Heat, and I am also the creator of Rule 44 Fitness. So I am a personal trainer, and anybody out here who wants to learn the game of basketball or have any fitness needs, hey, I'm right here.
And he just did a training session with me, and it was amazing. I know I'm about to get my muscles back, so follow him, like him, love him, and share.